Hello, everyone. My name is Cherie. Welcome to my June 2026 wrap up vlog, where I go over all the media I consumed in the month of June. But we're going to start with one I missed for the month of May. I actually did read a book in the month of May, and that was called Artemis by Andy Weir. Andy Weir is the author of The Martian and Project Hail Mary, and Artemis was released between those two novels. Now, this one has a female protagonist, and it takes place on the moon, and she is a driver who also runs a side smuggling business, and she gets involved in this plot to take over the moon by this evil corporation on Earth. um, and it's really fun, just like all his books are really fun. I hear that Lord and Miller have the rights to it, and they were actually working on it, I think, before they did Project Hail Mary. Um, but for some reason, that it didn't go. So I'm hoping that they do direct the movie. And it had gotten some bad press because of the way he wrote his main female character. Um, it didn't really bother me. She had her own character, and yes, it was a kind of how you'd think men would write women type of character, but it was fun. I liked it. She's a very aggressive type of person, and I think she was Arabic in heritage. She wasn't like just a white person, which is refreshing to see in films and novels these days. Okay, so now let's go to June 2026. I finished Kate Kavanaugh's Thanks for Watching, the arc that was sent to me way back in, I want to say January or February. And the reason I didn't finish it was because I was really busy, but also I realized that I do not like reading books on my computer. And the arc was sent as a PDF file. And when I have a book, I want something that I can hold and open the pages and put the bookmark in and read it in my bed and not at my computer where I don't even have a real, what are those chairs called that are good for your backs and stuff. So it just made it a little more difficult for me to want to sit down, take a chunk of time and read it on my computer. But I really love the story. It would make a great movie. It's kind of like an Agatha Christie, and then there were none type thing where all these influencers are sent to this island for this branding event, and one by one, they end up dying. Like I said, it's really fun. And as I was reading it, I thought the murderer was a certain person. It turned out it wasn't. So like it was really good that you know there are clues, but they're not obvious. All right, so now let's move on to screenplays. I read 5 screenplays: Coming Home, Melvin and Howard, Patton, Places in the Heart, and Tender Mercies. These all won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Of the 5, my 2 favorite were Coming Home and Places in the Heart. And I would definitely recommend you read those if you want to enjoy really well written screenplays. Movies. I saw 3 movies in the theater. I saw Disclosure Day, Supergirl, and Toy Story 5. Now, of the 3, Toy Story 5 was my favorite. However, I had a good time at the theater watching all of them. And I know people have been a little down on Disclosure Day. I think it's because it's not the movie they wanted. Like they had in their minds, this is what I want Disclosure Day to be. But it's a chase film. And Spielberg is great at chases. So I enjoyed it. I liked it. And Supergirl. Okay, Supergirl, people were getting upset because it didn't follow the storyline of the comic book it was based on, which is called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It added some things, and the villain is maybe a little weak. But I really enjoyed it because I was seeing it in D-Box, and so my seat was moving every time there was an action sequence. And it's better than the 1984 version starring Helen Slater and Faye Dunaway. That movie, that script is just so bad. Um, The Supergirl movie might not be as good as the Supergirl series that was on years ago. I still think that's more of like the epitome of Supergirl, but I really enjoyed this one, okay? And now on to the catch-up films, starting with the WTF films. These movies are crazy. I cannot recommend any of them, but you know, if you like that kind of thing, there's Forbidden Zone, Jubilee, Multiple Maniacs, and The Trip. La Cérémonie, which is a French thriller film in the vein of Alfred Hitchcock, and I really enjoyed this. And I want to read my letterboxed review to you for this. You know that one friend you had who was so much more daring than you, who then pulled you into some unsavory situations, making you realize too late how toxic that friend actually was? Yeah, that's the movie, La Cérémonie. Dangal from India. This is based on a true story, and it's about a father who was really into wrestling and kind of gave up his dreams. So when his wife got pregnant, he's like, oh, my son, he's going to follow in my footsteps. And he had a daughter. And then he had another daughter and another daughter. And what happened was his two eldest daughters were actually really good at fighting. And so he trained them to become wrestlers. It's just a really well done, fast moving sports dramedy. And it's currently on Netflix. Designing Woman, starring Gregory Peck and Lauren Bacall. This is one of those classic Hollywood rom-coms, and it's about two people who get together and get married without really knowing much about each other, and then they have to work through everything. It's really quite a great script, and the script did win a Best Original Screenplay Oscar, so that's one that I'm going to be reading in July. Girl Fight, starring Michelle Rodriguez. Now, this was a directorial debut by Karen Kusama, and it's just wonderful. However, I thought I was going to be watching a movie about girls fighting each other, like women boxers. She's the only female boxing in this movie. She fights men, and it's just really fun. Head, starring the Monkees. Now, this one technically could have gone in the WTF film slide earlier. However, this is one that I did enjoy and I would watch again. And it's the Monkees, and it's an anti-war film. There's actually some disturbing real life news footage in the movie that repeats a few times. So it's not a rated G film, even though it says so when you Google it. This would be like, I think it should be like a PG-13 just based on that scene alone. But you have guest appearances by Tony Basil, Frank Zappa, and Jack Nicholson. And Jack Nicholson is responsible for the screenplay. And yeah, it's just very fun, kind of anti-capitalist movie starring the Monkees. Hell's a Poppin'. Now, this is a really old movie, and it was on Variety's list of the 100 best comedies. I had never heard of it, but it is really fun. I found it on YouTube, and it's got the kind of like the Marx Brother type humor. You know, there's a lot of visual gags, and then there's a lot of verbal comedy, and yeah, it was just really fun. And then Peppermint Frappe. This is a Spanish film, and if you like the movie Vertigo, you would like this movie because it's kind of like the Spanish Vertigo. Plein Soleil, or the English title is Purple Noon. And this is The Talented Mr. Ripley, the French version. And it's just wonderful. I think, you know, if you like the version, the American version with Matt Damon, definitely give this one a watch. The lead actor is just gorgeous, and it's just got that great story by Patricia Highsmith. Now, the ending to this one is a little different than the ending to the Matt Damon version, as well as the Patricia Highsmith novel. I guess she wasn't too thrilled with it, but you decide. You be the judge. Seconds, starring Rock Hudson. And this is about a man who undergoes plastic surgery and takes on a new identity. and things don't go as well as they had planned, right? The guy in the poster right there is the actor who played Oscar in the Bionic Woman and Bionic Man franchise. And it was so funny watching him being this like evil surgeon. Targets, starring Boris Karloff. This one is a mass shooter movie. And it's really sad that 58 years later, America still has the problems with mass shootings. Finally, something lighthearted. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This is a horror comedy, and it's about a group of college age friends that are going on this trip to a cabin in the woods, and they meet these two hillbillies. And because the hillbillies act the way they do, they think that the hillbillies are trying to kill them. But movie is from the hillbillies' point of view, and they're just trying to be nice, but things are just going really wrong. And it's hilarious. It's really funny. Love this movie. And then I'm continuing on with the James Bond franchise. I watched the first four films starring Roger Moore: Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me, and Moonraker. And the two I really enjoyed were The Man with the Golden Gun and The Spy Who Loved Me. I thought it was really funny that Hervé Villechaize popped up in The Man with the Golden Gun because he was also in The Forbidden Zone, which is one of the WTF films I watched. And it was just really, I always loved him. I loved him as Tattoo on Fantasy Island. And it was just really nice seeing him in a couple of movies in the same month. And finally, I completed the 50 Greatest Film Directors of All Time Movie Challenge book. So this is a book I started in December of 2024 and finished in June of 2026. So it took me a year and a half. And of the 50 directors, there were 13 countries represented, and 19 of them were the United States. So 19 were American directors. I don't know why I'm saying that with like a frown, but I just feel like there's so many countries. And yes, the thing is, America has Hollywood, and that's where a lot of films come from, and so it makes sense. But it's also kind of sad that, you know, it's so heavily weighted that way. And let's see, after that, there were 5 each from France, Italy, and Germany, and then a smattering of other countries. So it was a fun book. You would, you know, write the movie, write the rating of both the movie and the director, and then you'd answer questions about the director and their style, and if you would recommend the movie, etc., etc. There's one female director, and it is anybody? Wrong. It's Jane Campion. She represents New Zealand, and she's the only one from New Zealand. So guess who that makes the omission then? Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson wasn't part of it, and I would definitely have added Peter Jackson to this book because, I mean, honestly, Lord of the Rings, come on. The book came out in 2023, so it was fairly new when I got it. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of the directors chosen were when film was just becoming a thing, and you know they created a visual style or a certain technique, and so they are in the history books. To me, that doesn't make them the greatest directors of all time, though, personally. Other notable omissions were Paul Thomas Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Guillermo del Toro, and then 2 that I absolutely positively think should have been in there, David Fincher and James Cameron. Okay? Now, personally, I would also add in the future, because I believe these filmmakers are going to continue making great work, Greta Gerwig and Edgar Wright. They both have their own style, and you know, they produce fun movies. So the directors I might delete if it were up to me would be Sam Peckinpah, Robert Bresson, Jean Renoir, Carl Theodor Dreyer, Michelangelo Antonioni, John Cassavetes, and Terrence Malick. And I know a lot of people love Terrence Malick, so sorry about that. And they probably love the other ones I listed too. But, I'm just thinking in terms of all-time greats. My mind does not go to those filmmakers immediately. But having said that, I'm really happy that I did go through this book because I hadn't seen a couple of these directors' films. So I got introduced to some new directors. And yeah. All right, so that's it for my June wrap up. Just wanted to let you know that in July, I'm going to be taking a 3-week hiatus from YouTube. So if you make any comments on the videos and I don't respond, that's why. Yeah, I was just spending too much time on YouTube, and I need to focus my time and attention on my creative projects. So yeah, 3-week fast. So I'll see you when I get back. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.